Hey, Dan, Brad, how's it going?
Hi, Scott. Thank you very
Hey,
much.
Dan.
Brad, good buddy. I've left you alone for too long.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm sure the lovely audience is very, very happy to hear someone new talking.
Hello, my good friends, Waleed, Mike, and everybody else. So happy to have you all here. We're going to get started real quick. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. All the information you're hearing from me today is for educational and informational purposes only. Please consult a registered investment advisor for registered investment advice. Let's jump into today's Q&A. So lots of stuff going on. I want to first just make sure everybody understands a couple of things. Let me duplicate this window, and we've done this from time to time. First of all, any window can be duplicated. I'm going to put in the SPIs here just so that you can see it. Duplicate it again and change the time frame to daily. Okay. So here, when you're in a situation where you bottomed in June and crept up pretty much all June and July, we are once again experiencing this type of volatility where you have to trade in a risk-averse mode. Okay. What does that mean? So from our point of view, the meaning of that is risk off. In other words, now that doesn't mean you can't take more risk, but it just means risk off. And this is the mode that you're seeing right here on the AI. And I'm also showing you the channel bar, which has this Omni AI view that allows you to consolidate all of the AIs into one view so that you don't have to cruise around all three. Lots of people have been asking for that. We brought that out. And so what I'm showing you here is the profitable, I'm going to show you all of them, but I'm showing you that you can sort your trades and view them by winning or losing. Why is that important? Like, why would somebody just want to be watching profitable trades? Let me explain real quick. Let's say, again, you're not at it from the very open. Okay, let's say you're a doctor or a lawyer or somebody that just is doing something else during the day where you can't always access information. What you're able to do then is come to Trade Ideas and instantly focus on what is working right now. So you would see this ARCT, AMRS, PJT. So these kinds of plays that are just the ones that are working, and you can see that a lot of them were working pretty much, the whole day. Now, Brad, the other thing that I thought that this was a great example of today, and this is why it's so important for people to understand why risk control is key. Okay, so let's say you're watching everything. Okay, so risk off mode today made 3.42%. We have this column so you can see that what the price move is relative to the stock, what percentage you're making in this 151.
I think you're in history mode though, bud. So that's showing yesterday's data, right?
Oh, goodness gracious. You're probably right. My bad. So this is thank you, Brad. This is why we have Brad here. And, I've been gone for a little while, so as you can see. So let me go to all of the trades, and so that you can see what's going on in them. Okay. So this is a very important point in terms of risk control that I wanted to show everyone. So why do people put in stop losses? Why are they so critical? We've talked about how there's only 4 outcomes in trading. There's winners and there's losers, split up into 2 components for each. For winners, you have large winners and you have small winners. And for losers, you have small losers and large losers. If you can remove the large losers, you're going to do all right. Still not going to necessarily be easy, but you can certainly do all right. And that's what everyone has trouble doing. Why do stops help? Let's look at it. So here's an example of where you have risk on mode, a $54 loss, whereas if you kept it all day, it just continued to go lower. this is the stop, the computer generated stop. This is why this is important. Okay, and you can also see, again, it gives you the exit reason. Stop was hit in terms of risk off. And in this case, risk on and risk off are pretty much the exact same price. In GBT, similar example. Here you had a stock that went, floundered around, tried to come back, exited, and really then plummeted thereafter. Okay, notice here that if you sum it up, you've got 1, 2. So this is like 400, 500, 700, $800 in 4 trades. So if you just kept it without any control and putting risk control in is partly taming your emotions. So if you just let your emotions run amok, this is what could happen. And it's very important for you guys to know this, because these are the pitfalls of trading. And this is the reason why we have risk off mode and risk on mode and full risk. Now listen, like Brad, we often get questions, well, how do I navigate around it? Okay, this is a critical question. Number one, we've talked about how when you're trading this stuff in Brokerage Plus, you can just set it to risk off mode and then re-enter on your own. So that's a very easy thing to do. And the reason that full risk exists, okay, so that you can actually see as these things start to turn around. And notice there's a column here called profit change last 5, okay? So what this column does is you can always sort it by what's working right now. So notice here that play at the end, Dave & Buster's at the end started to go. Here's another one, EHC, just at the very end, a little trickle right there. So this is an important column when you're working in this environment, because you can always look at what is moving in the direction of the trade. Does that make sense? Does everybody understand what's going on?
There's also another really interesting parallel as I look at this, Dan, and it's really, it's important that, you know, like a fighter pilot, you've got your heads-up display and all your controls. I'm looking at the profit chart on the AI in the upper left-hand corner, and, you know, it was doing okay through the day. It was meandering around, and it looks like it's mimicking the spider chart. You know, when we had the interest rate announcement a couple hours before the close, a tremendous amount of volatility kind of came into the market, and this is why your protective stops are helpful, because as the market starts to bleed away, inadvertently, if you're holding these positions, those are going to bleed as well.
Right, and something that everybody needs to understand is that this volatility, right? It's like what Brad said, from the morning the AI was working, peeled off, then it really started working for quite a while, peeled off, started working again, and then the announcement hit, and that's when everything really went more red right after the interest rate announcement, which, by the way, is weird because they lowered rates.
Well, I think their expectations may have been maybe a little more, but
okay,
maybe not.
Very possible. And notice that risk off mode was at one point almost up $500 for my specific set, which is I'm risking $55 per trade. Okay, so there's a couple of things going on here. You can see in this display that when I'm risking $55 based on my stop loss per trade, and my win rate's 40%. So this is in risk off mode. Okay, so it gives you kind of that heads up. It's telling you what's going on, how and why you're winning what you're winning. And this is the other thing, Brad, that I think is kind of, it goes a little bit unsaid, but I want to talk a little bit about this green area. If you guys don't know what this green area is, this is the optimized back test, right, Brad?
Yeah, exactly. There's a time horizon used for every strategy when we're back testing and optimizing it, and that's letting you know when the expiration of that risk off time period is. So,
right.
Yeah.
So in this case, risk off, right, means that you are trading this thing exactly the way the AI defined it. Now, Is that always the most profitable way? Not necessarily, because what happens is if all of a sudden the market runs, you can just have waves of momentum hit and you can just keep going and going and going. But I just want to make sure everyone knows that this area right here, this colored area, okay, that's risk off. This is what it was optimized to do. In other words, a lot of these trades were really optimized for about, what is it, in this case, it was probably like 35 minutes, 45 minutes, Brad?
Well, it's possible that that got out on a profit save, right? There are a couple different algorithms that we employ with these AI signals, and that could be a profit save where it actually achieves some level of profitability and has pulled back to a degree that you just really want to take some profits and not see it erode to zero.
I think that you're right. I think that's what happened here. And by the way, these are what the exit reasons are. So risk off exit reasons, profit save. Why are you doing that? As Brad said, you're doing that because, well, you're making money. So in this case, we got in right here and instantly Garmin started to go. So you were up a lot very quickly. And then when you peeled off, it said, okay, you know what? I don't want to have this go to zero. And look what happened. That's the reason why you get.
I think another critical thing that you're talking about right now with respect to the exit reason are these timed exits. So when you happen to have one of these signals have a timed exit, that just means that it didn't get stopped out. It achieved some level of profitability, and the time horizon for that risk off had just expired. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should be getting out of it. Now, in a risk off mode where the market's starting to tank, yeah, of course, you know, you do. But if the market's continuing to show some bullish strength, you're in a long position and it's continuing to move, then there's no reason to necessarily get out of it. Maybe you put some trailing stop in there, maybe you move your stop up. A couple different ideas that you can employ there.
Right, but we're kind of just showing you the high levels, and that's why we want you to see that these color codes aren't just there for aesthetics. That's really what we're trying to make sure you understand, that these color codes have meaning. And here, this is the other thing. Notice that the AI does go short, right? So it hit this twist trade, okay, Twist Biosciences, and in a strategy called downward dog, because it seems like it ran up so high, and statistically speaking, it's kind of a mean reversion area. And this was nailed sort of perfectly. And notice, this is a target hit. We love these because basically it just went right into the direction of the trade right there. And basically here, I believe it made a point. Is that about right, Brad?
Yeah, and I think the target hits also, there are other ways that you can trade that. A lot of people don't necessarily exit their entire position at that target hit. A lot of people use it as an opportunity to take something off the table and give themselves an opportunity to see if that stock's going to continue in their direction.
Correct. So what we want to do is we want to make sure you guys understand that the color codes in the charts are all very critical, okay? And the other thing that we're trying to help you do is understand that there's two sides really to it. Day trading in general, right, is the more difficult endeavor because you're getting in and you're getting out. Notice these buy signals. So here you have one, and then from 28 in a few days it went to 34. Okay, then it had a very big decline, but you still could have had from 28 to 31, potentially speaking. Here, this thing got long again, okay, and it went from 24 to 26, pulled back, but then ran from 24 to where it is right now to 35. And we are working closely with our scientists and our data guys to give you the ability to work on this data, on the historical data. So from that point of view, I want everyone to know that you can go into any AI and look at yesterday's data, okay? So let me show you what you can do with that information real quick. And this is something that Barry's been doing in the chat room, and I'm doing just a modification of it. But I'm going to go to new, and I'm going to set alert window, okay, and I'm going to start from scratch, okay. So I'm going to look for an alert when, let's say, it pulls back from lows of the close, okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a symbol filter of AI yesterday. So I already created a symbol filter for all of the stocks. I'm going to call this moving AI yesterday. And all of you who have premium can do this. So here, you have ARTC. This is from yesterday, okay? And again, ARTC in the morning went as high as 1540. So if you go back and you go to history and you go to today, you can sort of see what kind of a feed you would have gotten with the information of the AI, okay, based on yesterday's data, okay? And again, I'm not saying all of it is going to work, but what I'm trying to tell you is that you can already start to create symbol lists, and there's other things that you can do. So for example, watch. I just randomly kind of picked an alert to show you what a pullback might look like. But you can then use some of our filtering and say, okay, let's look at where the position in previous days range, and we add the filter. In other words, so when this was happening, this is yesterday. I want to know that today is at least above yesterday's highs. Okay, so I have to switch an alert here because that wouldn't work.
Make that, yeah, like a new high or something, right?
So I'm going to go to this, get rid of this, and select. Now you're seeing a totally different feed. Okay, you're seeing all of the stocks that were hit yesterday on the long side. And by the way, there's other ways you can do it. Just a quick way to do it. This is what Barry would do. For example, he would focus on the biggest winners. You have like a 6% or 3%. So really it's ARCT and AMRS. So let's kind of scroll down, and here they go. ARCT today at 6:51, so 20 minutes after the open, you would have had an alert right here at 1473, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes later, it was at 1551. That's what you're trying to shoot for. So what you're looking for to do, I mean, just quick high level, is you're looking at the biggest winners, and I made a symbol list so you can see more information. But I want to show you how you do it, okay? So it's, it's going to tools, symbol lists, AI yesterday, I put in 11 there, but this is where, again, if you go to profitable, you really can filter on the stuff that's moving, and it really would have been AMRS and ARCT. So ARCT would have been a great trade today, even though the market was down at 1473. All of us, you would have loved it. And again, even on this pullback, you would have had a ton of opportunity to make some money. And then let's look at AMRS when that came on. And it might not have.
Yeah, and I don't think there's really any necessarily a correlation in the biggest winner being the guy that's going to move the most today, but picking from the list of positive trades from the previous day and just letting them go into your alert window or your top list window, and you just let it work for you.
AMRS was a good one. I'm surprised that, here we go. Okay, so at 303 right here, so you're above yesterday's high, and look what happened. You went from 303 to 319. I mean, on a percentage level, Barry would be proud. And Jeff, thank you for pointing that out. Of course, you can also, this is the beauty of it. You all, and this is why we're talking, in this particular case, this is a high level premium move, but what you can start doing is you can start creating your own symbol list of the big winners from not just yesterday, but you can go to a time frame. You can say, okay, so how about today, and oldest is 6:30, and hit OK, and take a look. Okay, and now, whoops, bear with me here. So now what you're doing is you're creating a curated list of some of the biggest winners. Let me just sort this right here. So here you've got, and I would say anything in the, even let's call it 3%. So notice how you took a month worth of trades, right, Brad? And this is the kind of interesting thing. And look at what you narrowed it down to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 trades, okay? And let's scoot this down real quick. And you can just take a look at some of these. And again, I mean, look at this one. I mean, that's, and you can't get any more beautiful. And that,
yeah, you know, one of the things that we've noticed after looking at this data for a couple of years is that more often than not on some of these positive trades, there's tremendous follow through, and it's using that theory in what we're doing right here. Look at Overstock, OSTK. I mean, just another great call when you're looking at the multi-day continuation patterns.
There's so much more to trading, trade ideas, AI signals than purely day trading. And this is what we want everybody to understand. And Barry's been working on this and all of us, because the key is to be able to be in an OSTK and be sized in a way that you can get in, you know, maybe cut a little bit here, but stay in it and ride it all the way up. That's where you're going to get the kind of percentages that you can't, you know, compete with. Once again, look at ADVM, and you're talking about only checking it, right, when it's above a certain point. If you look at what I did here, right, configure. So your trigger is, and this is not perfect, but it's kind of like what Barry's sort of doing. So your position in previous day's range, which is, if we're looking at it today, yesterday was the alert, or, you know, to some extent, we're probably going to need to, Brad, make a filter called position in alert signal range or something to that effect.
Yeah, we're going to need to know when the entry price or closing price of that signal was on the day of the AI. That's what we'll be at.
Right. And that's going to be a gigantic filter. Barry's all excited. I know he's listening to this. So imagine, again, a filter says position in AI signal, position relative to AI signal. And you can say, okay, show me something that's making a new high that's, let's say, within 20 cents, at most 20 or at most 30 cents above the AI signal. There's something to contemplate, right? So this is kind of that approach right there, what I'm doing here, position in previous day's range. And so that allows you to then take advantage of the other calls, okay? Another one, workhorse. Notice right here from 3 to 5. Look at the percentages. I mean, this is part of why we do what we're doing, right? And by the way, and Barry will tell you this too, Brad, it's not all like instant access, right? So you can have a signal that happened like right here, great trade, then nothing going on, maybe another signal here that you actually traded but got out of, you know, for a loss, okay? Nothing going on, nothing going on. But then right here, you got in again. Again, this is the signal. This is the signal line right here. So we're looking at the signal line as the trigger, okay? So on this day, you really would have been able to stay in this at 369 and really ride this forward. Again, if you're sized right, like let's say you have 100 or 200 shares. But do you guys see what we're trying to communicate here? Using this data and the way,
you know, another way to use that data, Dan, is not necessarily build a symbol list. Oh, that's a great idea, and you can use it in a variety of different windows, but using the price alerts is another great way in going through some of the historical AI trades to set up your curated symbol list in that fashion.
Let's show an example here. So tools, whoops, new price alerts window. These are mine. Right click. Create, whoops, create, let me see if I can just do it from here. Can I create a price alert from the AI window?
No, not from the AI window, but you can bring it up onto a chart and then populate it that way.
Oh,
Click.
good. Brad's, you know, he's a little older.
I'm the resident doctor, huh?
Okay, so check it out. Create a price alert, and obviously this won't make sense, but if you knew the entry, right, which is 794, you would say, so let's go to today. We're gonna just do this in you know, the way it's supposed to be done. 31st, this is the data, okay? So we're gonna go to NBR, okay, this is where we are. and we're going to right click and create a price alert for NBR long, and we're going to say like 90, and we'll call it from AI. Do you guys see what I'm doing? So again, it triggers because it's there, but I'm just showing you how you would do it. Do you guys see what's going on? Okay, we'll do another one. Twist. So twist was a short, and that's still there. So you could kind of say, I mean, again, in theory, this would be good if you were still in, but you can say, okay, show me if it's created price source for twist, short, price falls to, let's say, 32.5. Okay, so now you're saying, hey, you know, this is really going to get weak because it's below this area. And I'm just, again, using visual reference points here. So what I really want to make sure you guys understand is that there's kind of a chess game to it. You don't have to simply just get a signal and blindly go just in the direction of the trade. And I don't want to say blindly because, again, there's statistics behind it. But as Barry's been showing you in the chat room and as we have been kind of trying to showcase, there's this whole other element. And remember, the percentage from 24 to 35 is the kind of percentages that you're not going to get in your other type of trading environments. This is the whole reason why our AI does this versus specifically looking at like just, you know, the Facebooks. Although again, Facebook's been volatile, you can get a lot of points, but you're talking about 1%. You know, if you're looking at Amazon, 1%. I mean, they're all traded by the same BlackRock, you know, 0.8. So here it's a difference between points and percentage points. And our thought is that you can definitely get many more percentage points by paying attention to some of the stocks that not every single person is using. Peter, absolutely not. I mean, you ask a good question. It seems like this, you know, the stuff that we're demonstrating on this Q&A, it's tailored to a broad range of people because so many people here are regulars that come to our webinar. But please understand, Peter, that we have a full curriculum that goes on every week. Every time you sign up for Trade Ideas, you're encouraged to, first of all, get an introduction. When you sign up, you're encouraged to get a training session on just the basics. Then let's move back from here. Like, look, there's a channel bar, right? So you can just go to Alpha Predator. Okay, you're instantly going to be seeing very interesting names, all names that are moving, and it's kind of much more simple. And also we have this thing called idea surfing, where as soon as you start watching any kind of window on Trade Ideas, the software is going to continue to bring up stocks for you until something lets you know, like, hey, wait a minute, this is interesting. I'm going to click like, just like you would on social media. When you move away from the chart, it starts to surf again. I mean, Brad, I love that feature because it's just so, it's understated how good it is, because it's the kind of thing that, oh, Peter, consider this. When something is super, super simple, it is simple, and Trade Ideas can be simple in the sense that when you turn it on, let's talk about the beginning experience, okay? Let me do something here real quick.
I think it's a lot like Microsoft Word. Anybody can type a letter and do what they need to do, but how much do you want to get out of it? You can do a whole lot with it if you spent some time with it.
Okay, Peter, you just downloaded Trade Ideas and you don't even know what to do. Okay, so I'm just talking specifically to this experience right now. You don't know what to do, but you're seeing there's a bunch of channels. So your market's about to open. Notice there's a channel called pre-market. Okay. Up gappers, these are the stocks that are up today in the pre-market. Down gappers, these are the stocks that are down in the pre-market. And what this is just kind of a summary of information about the stocks you're seeing. So here it's kind of going through all of this. Notice I don't have to do anything. There's nothing for you to do. You're just watching a very cool interactive like TV show in essence, where you can see like, okay, pharmaceutical, it's on Lowe's, okay, see what's going on. And then boom, it goes to the big winners. Oh, Endo Pharma is up quite a bit. Wait a minute. Is this the stuff that Dan Crazy guy was talking about in terms of if we can just hold on to some of these trades, we can go in April from 13 to August, July 28 and make 100% on a part of our trade? Is that guy was talking about? Brad, is it?
I think that's what you're talking about.
I think it's what that guy was talking about. And again, I'm not saying that it's easy, and there's certainly trades where, you know, you buy and it goes lower, which is why we have stop losses. But notice what we are, this is, you know that we didn't program this. I didn't know this was going to happen. This is the kind of information that sells the Trade Ideas subscription.
But Dan, I think you said it. And it's so important for people that are kind of getting into this business or this game to really fully understand the volatility. Go back to that last one that you were on. Yeah. Okay, if we go back into the daily and we look at that middle buy, right? That middle buy, you know, if you want to stick in this trade, like any good long-term trade, it doesn't come without a little bit of pain initially, you know, in order to get positive. Now, you don't have to sit and ride through that, but you're not going to be feeling so good during the process. But oftentimes, in order to have a longer term type of winner, that's why buying at a good price is so important and not oversizing yourself so that you can withstand those types of pullbacks.
If I may, you know, this kind of talks about, you know, do you guys know why we have the 13 period EMA and the 62 period SMA here on the daily? Brad, do you know?
Honestly, I don't know why we have the 62. That seems pretty strange, but
it doesn't matter. But the point is that the 13 period EMA is kind of like a guidepost that you can use for longer term swing trading. And Steve and Andy and Jamie, they talk about this quite a bit. So imagine here, you buy this right here, and you're saying to yourself, based on what you see here, that you're going to exit this if it closes below this 13 period EMA. So that's your risk parameter. In other words, you would have, if you bought it at 14, you would have given it to 11, like 1180 or so, depending on, you know, that day, if it really crashed. Which means, like, again, you have to be sized appropriately. But notice, here it is. It's going. I think here it touched it. You're out right here, okay, at $15. So you got in at 1360, you're out at 15. But of course, if you're getting out below this, then Brad, you would also enter if it closed above again, which is the next day.
That's right.
So because again, this is a swing trading environment. And now you're back in it, back, another buy signal. I mean, so you got in right here. You probably exited here, which is roughly a flat, but then you got back in right here, okay? And now you've been holding it since here, exited it one more time, but bought it, exited, bought it. And this can happen, by the way, guys. This is something you need to understand. This can happen, okay? These are just price to catch this move. Look at that. So that's just a very high level, you know, dumbed down strategy of what you can do. But in terms of what Peter was saying, the idea here is this is just pre-market stuff. So you're watching what's moving. When the market starts, okay, let's say you're not that familiar with what's going on. You just want to see what's going up. We have a channel for that. If you like something, we have a channel for that. Price, up, movement. These are your biggest gainers today, okay? And you can sort any of these columns. So we have it auto-sorted by what's up the most over 10 minutes so that the biggest gainers, you're watching like what's running right now when you see it. but you can always double click on this and Quad, Big 5, Endopharma, SunPower, UIS. So you can see all the biggest winners. What about for the week? Okay, same thing. How about this guy? Dog and cat food manufacturing up 100% this week. SMSI, Smith Micro, up 82. SGMA, 59. These are the things that we're trying to catch. These are the unadvertised things that happen in the stock market that are not, I don't want to ever say that it's easy, because even myself, I still make tons of mistakes, but this is what is going on and what we're trying, why we are here. So Peter, and this is for anybody who's a beginner, you can quickly just start to navigate one channel at a time. Start at pre-market, watch the gainers, and remember, just double click, and you're sorting on what's going on right now, like what's moving up right now. Then notice I scroll down here, and we have after hours. So what's going on today in after hours? So you can see SPWR, you know.
And by the way, Dan, go back to ENPH and zoom out. But you know, it was kind of interesting. I did it on mine, and it just provided a little bit more information. No, don't go back. Just zoom out.
Well, what can we tell you?
It's why, you know, it's one of the interesting things about trade ideas, and there's something to be said about someone that can really master Apple, right, and know how to trade that stock. But the great thing about trade ideas, it's seeking all these different stocks out there that most people haven't heard of, and they're introducing them to you and giving you an opportunity to participate in some type of move, and either whether it's a short-term move or a longer-term move, that's really up to the discretion of the trader. But this is really a tool that's going to hunt this kind of movement out, and it does it through volume. It does it through these proprietary filters that we've created that are very unique to trade ideas. So,
and as Brad was saying, just like Microsoft Word or Adobe Photoshop, it caters to the expertise. Notice that in this particular presentation, I'm not doing configuring, although every window you can right click, you can duplicate, and you can make it your own. See, I didn't change anything, I just moved it out, and now I can right click, configure, and I can go and do all sorts of things. I can go to the filters and change any of this information, okay? And there's also hints.
and ultimately, Dan, make your own channel, right, of your own windows and have your own image and really make this your own software. But you don't have to start off there. That's the great thing.
Absolutely. Show me stocks with a volume today is at least 2,000 shares. How many stocks are there? So all these little computer-based training, it's in there. And again, as you move things around, you can see what's going on. There's so much to it, and all the education that's already there and embedded into the curriculum. So a channel for everybody. The thing, Brad, you know, as we're kind of heading into the end here, what I would want to tell you guys is upgrade to the latest dev version. Use this Omni AI channel to combine everything. Focus on this view, the profitable trades. I mean, again, it's just a very good way to look at this information. And understand that this isn't supposed to be easy. If it was easy, every single person would be doing it, okay? This is very rewarding, but it's also challenging, so we want to make sure that you all understand that. Now, something else for everyone to be aware of. I'm going to move this. I'm going to expand this just so you guys understand that there's something here. Let's say you guys like to trade Apple. Okay. So our software likes to think and help you make a decision. Let's say you wanted to buy Apple right here. Okay. Notice how it tells you there's this area right here that's called smart stop. In other words, what it's saying is that if you were going to make a trade in any single stock, it's going to give you some hints. So 212.12 based on Apple's volatility is what it's saying. If you bought here, this is your exit. It's kind of like, right around here. Okay. Lianichka, we'll show you the options channel too. У нас все есть. So here, we have the profit target. So if you bought Apple here and it quickly ran up, this is your profit target. So now let's look at Twitter. Just again, stocks you know, okay? If you got long Twitter right here at 42.30, your suggested stop, if you want to stay in it all day, is 41.54. And your profit target is 43. Because this is where it got stuck before. Let's look at Snapchat. Okay, you got long right here. The suggested stop is 16.55, and your profit target is 17.31. So every single stock, whether it's ExxonMobil, whether it's Microsoft, Cisco, every single stock is giving you hints of what to do based on the mathematics. Яночка, я говорю по-русски, так же, как и ты. You guys like that? Fellow Russian countrywoman. So the other thing, again, just to highlight all of this, and this goes beyond to the unseen, to the stuff that's really good, is that everything has an ability for you to like it, and as soon as you like it, it appears in your liked symbolist channel. So it's all there for you, okay? These are all the symbols that you've hearted. So it's just like social media. It's like what you've been watching. And now for Lianichka, I'm going to take her to the options channel. And we do options a little bit differently than other people. We don't focus on the underlying contract because we're working on options volume. So here you're seeing calls, and more calls, where the put-call ratio is such that the options volume on the call side is just much bigger than what you would expect, okay? And also options volume today is much more than what you would expect. So here is where the unusual options volume is happening. Now we can't tell if these calls are being sold or bought, but you can see where the action is, okay? Puts it like this is the opposite of this window. So many puts, okay? You can see call volume, put volume today, okay? And this is, again, we can't exactly tell if they're buying or selling these options, but what we can tell is that these are the options that are in play. And here we have something where it says, somebody knows something. Brad, what do you think that means?
I think it's something that you should look at, or if you're curious, you could always configure it and see exactly how it's set up.
Okay, so somebody knows something. Look at the options volume today in Duke Realty. Now, it's not a lot, by the way, or actually, I'm sorry, it is a lot. Options volume, 57,300 contracts. But in terms of the percentage, it's just out of this world. So somebody who's a smart options player can quickly go to these names and say to themselves, whoa, someone's doing something, especially in names that usually are never traded. Очень сильный. Okay, so this is how this is done. So what we're doing again is we are looking at the statistics. And we're trying to show you options volume percentage today compared to the norm. And we keep the internal data, so we're keeping track of this information and saying this is relative to the average. Okay. So, and there's lots of different stocks, the low float names, where there's just a lot of volatility. You know. short squeeze, stocks that are kind of moving up, where there's also a relatively high short float. See, these are the kind of things when you have a high short float, it has a chance to really start running. So that's what you got. Notice that means that the smart guys are betting against it, and which means that they could be manipulated. This is a very interesting one right here, Brad. Greenway Holdings, almost 30% short interest, and look how close it is to lows. So here I would just right click, create a price alert, 1895, short squeeze. Save. See, and that's how it's done. All right, everyone. I think that is going to conclude the trade ideas portion of this presentation because we're right at that time limit. So we have a back to school test drive just for $8.99. You can experience the whole thing. Trade-ideas.com/test drive and get your pass right there. We really encourage you to do it. Thank you, Mike. We are grateful for your kind compliments. This is how much our software costs. We're a very high-end technology, statistical analysis software. Lenchka, shoot an email to, are you a subscriber already? If you're not, then you want to definitely take advantage of the $8.99 to look at everything. And if you are a subscriber, well then, shoot an email to info@trade-ideas.com, and you can basically get a training lesson set up, and someone will walk you through it. So this is how much we cost on a per day basis, but billed monthly. Okay. So you just multiply that by the days in the year, and you can see what it is. Barry runs an amazing trading room. Would you need to update this graphic, Brad?
Yeah, that is pretty old, isn't it? Got some new software, gives them a little more flexibility in the room, but a lot of great stuff goes on there.
The email is info@trade-ideas.com, and I'll have that for you too. But you can definitely go to trade-ideas.com/trading room, and I really encourage everybody to do that. Take a look at what Barry's doing. Check out our podcast. Myself and Jamie Hodge, we run a podcast roughly every Friday when we're able to do so. So we would love for you guys to check that out and enjoy it as much as we enjoy it. We have lots of educational material, okay? Swing trading setups, active versus passing, pullbacks. Check it out at trade-ideas.com. Setup. Again, Peter, more information, easy for you guys to do, and easy for you guys to check it out. And this is how you can reach us. Like us on social media, shoot us an email, or give us a call, and we will be more than happy to help you in any way that we can. We're grateful for your time today. Scott, take it away.
I think we got everything covered. So there'll be a recording up available later on tonight or tomorrow, and everyone will get an email reminder about where to find it. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, man. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye.